Hey everyone, today's test is going to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on the Absolute 3D one, and we're going to be connecting to my Morefine G1 eGPU, which has an NVIDIA 4080M. We'll also be using Depth 3D for our side-by-side effect. Before I get into the test, while I was adjusting the graphics settings, I noticed that the menus have like a little bit of an issue here with Depth 3D. So there's probably a way to fix it. I just didn't get far enough in my testing to really figure that out, but if somebody knows the fix for that, let me know in the comments. That effect does continue when we're playing the game, especially around Cloud's hair. We'll start off in side-by-side mode, and here our frame rate is anywhere from the high 50s to the mid 60s, and we're at low settings, 1600p with scaling at 100%. When we enable 3D mode, we drop quite a bit for our frame rate. We're down to the 30s, and it does feel like 30 FPS. Like it is a little different. Like when we were playing with the iGPU, when it would say 30 to 40 FPS, it kind of felt like 15 to 20. So with the eGPU, that does not seem to be the case. Like it actually feels like what it's reporting. For a game like Final Fantasy VII, 30 FPS should be perfectly fine. Like when you're playing it on PS5 in quality mode, this is what you're getting. You're getting 30 FPS. So as long as you're okay with a 30 FPS experience with an RPG, then you'll have a pretty good experience playing this on the 3D one if you're connected to an eGPU. It does sometimes dip below 30, so keep that in mind that it's not going to be a perfect experience. It might actually drop down to like the mid 20s. Switching over to some 2D gaming here, this is with the same settings except we have depth 3D turned off as well as any 3D effects. This is a pretty good experience here. Like we're at 1600p, very sharp image. We have no upscaling going on here, and we're in the high 60s to mid 70s. We can also adjust our settings here to see what exactly we can push out of this. So we'll keep our scaling at 100%, except we're going to turn the graphics up to high now and see how this actually does. Now with our settings cranked up to the max and no upscaling, we seem to be getting, roughly mid 50s, sometimes mid 40s. And it's not a 60 FPS experience. So you may want to turn it down a little bit, maybe down to medium settings if you want to get 60 FPS. Or you can also turn on the scaling because we're not doing 3D. We can, utilize that maybe 50% or even 75% scaling so that we can get over 60 FPS. Another option that we could leverage here is actually using DLSS frame generation. So we're going to turn that on and we're going to stay at 1600p with the highest settings. And this makes a pretty dramatic difference. Like we're looking at about 100 FPS, sometimes a little bit higher. And there's not really any input delay that I'm detecting. And with a game like Final Fantasy VII, that's not really something that you're too concerned about. One quick note for the eGPU setup here, and I've done this in all my test videos just to be transparent, is that the Morefine G1 did connect perfectly fine, and I haven't really had issues with it with the Absolute 3D one. But I did also test out the 1X GPU 2 that has an AMD 7800M, and for some reason that one will not install. But I want you guys to be aware that your eGPU mileage may vary, so keep that in mind. If you want to learn more about the Absolute 3D one, I did do an early impressions video on my Okayest Gamer channel, so you can check that one out at the end of the video here. If you're also wanting to check out other gameplay clips with the eGPU and also just with the device itself, check out those on this channel, the Okayish Gamer. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.